Look at this coding problem. Maria plays college basketball and wants to go pro. Each season she maintains a record of her play. She tabulates the number of times she breaks her season record for most points and least points in a game. So number of times she breaks season record for most points and least points in a game. Okay? And the points scored in the first game establish her record for the season, and she begins counting from there. Points scored in the first game establish her record for the season, and she begins counting from there. Okay, look at this. In game 0, this is the first game that she played in this season. So her score is 12. So that becomes, right now, that becomes a minimum score as well as the maximum score. And this is the count of min and max. What is the count of min max? Okay, what is this count is? What this count is? So 0 times she has broken her minimum score, and so far 0 times she has broken her maximum score. In the first game she scores 24. So 24 is greater than 12. So the maximum value becomes, now the maximum value is 24. It means what? It means minimum value is still 12, and so she has not broken her minimum score, and hence the number of times she has broken her minimum score is still 0, but her number of times she has broken her maximum value is incremented to 1. Okay. In the third game, serial number as second, the score is 10. So then obviously this 10 is less than the minimum score, which is 12, or this 10 is less than the minimum score. So now the minimum score is 10. Okay, maximum score 24 remains the same, and in the third game she breaks her minimum score record, so it will be incremented. Minimum will be incremented to 1. Number of times she breaks her maximum record is still 1. Now in the fourth game the score is 24. Okay, so this is the maximum number. So what, the minimum stays at 10 and maximum stays at 10, and hence whatever the minimum and maximum value was previously, it will stay the same. That will be 1 and 1. What is this? What is this min and max? This min and max is, okay, what is this min and max? This min and max is number of times she has broken her minimum score and number of times she has broken her maximum score. Now what you have to do is, given the scores for a season, determine the number of times Maria breaks her records for most and least points scored during the season. Number of times Maria breaks her records for most and least points during the season. Okay, so let's look into the function description. Complete the breaking records function in the editor below. It has the following parameters, which is array, which is a scores array. This scores array will store all the scores in the season, means in different games that she played, whatever the score is in the scores array, it will store. And what it will return? Look, it will return an array whose size is 2. Okay, so what it will return? An array with the number of times she broke her records. So index 0 is for breaking most point records, and index 1 is for breaking least point records. Okay, so I think you understand what you have to do in this question. Like for example, so what you have to return in this case is an array, okay, a 2 size array, index 0 and index 1. In this index you will return number of times she has broken her most points records, means maximum points records. So that is 1. And index 1 is for breaking least point records. Least point records, that is 1. So what you will return for this example is 1 1. Is 1 1. Okay. Good. So the input format is the first line contains an integer n. N is the number of games. Okay, and the constraints for your input, the constraints are that n is between 1 to 1000. Okay, 1 to 1000. And scores, the array size will be between 0 to 10 to the power 8. So this is one example. N is 9. N is equal to 9. It means what? N is 9 means what? Means the number of games in the season. There are 9 games in the season, and these are the scores for each game. So in the first game she scored 10. Second game she scored 5. Third game she scored 20. Fourth game she scored 20. Fifth game she scored 4. Sixth game she scored 5. Sixth game she scored 2. Seventh game she scored 25. And the eighth game she scored 1. So am I wrong? N was 9. I counted it only 9. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So somewhere I was wrong. So let me take it in a new page. Let me show you. So n is equal to 9. And what is the array? What is the array of scores? It is, okay, so this is the array. This is a scores array. Okay, let me write it as a score for now, because that's what it is. Score. Number of games 9, and these are the scores. The indices are, as you can see, it is 0th index to 8th index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So for this example, what you should return? We should be returning an array of size 2. At the 0th index, you should return number of times she has broken the least score, and at index 1 at index 1 number of times she has broken her maximum score. So how we will solve it? Let's look into that now. So at game 0, which is our first this score 10, okay, that initially min will be 10 and max will be 10. Okay, or you can say that min is equal to score 0 and max is equal to score 0. Min and max are score 0. Then we are going to iterate over the array. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than whatever the size is, which is n here, and I plus plus. If it happens that your new score, which is score I, if it is greater than, if score I is greater than min, or let's say greater than so it is greater than x, then what you are supposed to do? Then we are supposed to increase the count of how many times. First of all, we are supposed to update our max to score of I, right? Also we are supposed to increment our count of number of times she has break the maximum score. So let that be break is max. Let me take that as break max. So break max is equal to, it's okay, it's fortunate this is break max and not break hard. That's very painful and it's hard to recover from it, and maybe you never recover from it and you learn how to live with it. Okay, so break max is equal to break max plus equal 1. Okay. Okay, similarly else if, we can do here else if means either it got to be greater than max, or it might happen that your score is less than your minimum, right? So let me take a new page and explain this. So else if score is less than minimum, else if score is less than minimum, then minimum is equal to score I, and break minimum, we have to increment the break minimum count by 1. So initially before getting into this for loop, I will set, before getting into this for loop, initially you will set break max equal to 0 and break min is equal to 0, right? And at the end, what we have to return? We have to return the array. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Actually, let me do one thing. Let me do a slight change, because we have to return the array with 2 index. So in place of break max, I have to do, let's say initially I have the array. Initially you have array called break scores, break score array. Okay, break scores 2 is equal to 0. You initialize both as 0, means both break score at index 0 and index 1, both element to be 0. And what here you have to do, you will just make it as break score break score 0, and it is break score 1, break score 1 plus equal to 1, and at last we just return break score, and this is it. This is our code. So in this case, if I debug it and get the result for this, what would be the return array? So minimum is 10 and maximum is 10. Now when I is equal to 1, when it is 5, it is less than minimum, so minimum becomes 5. This is the array that is going to be returned. Initially you put both value as 0, and when at I is equal to 1, now this will become 1. Now at I is equal to 2, max will become 20, it will be updated as 1. Then it is again 20, it's okay, no problem. Now it is 4. When it is 4, min becomes 4, and you increase the minimum, it becomes 2. Now when it is 5, okay, no problem. Then 2, then min becomes 2, and this will be increased as 3. 25, when it is 25, then max becomes 25, and this will be incremented to 2. 1, then min becomes 1, and this will be incremented to 4. So what are you going to return? For this example, what will be returned? An array. 2 and 4 will be returned. Okay, let's look at that. So as you can see, for this sample input, what is being returned is 2 and 4. Okay. Now these are explanations. We don't need to look at that. We have already write the pseudo code. If you can, actually we wrote the code itself. So let's just run it on Visual Studio Code, or directly we can go and submit it in the HackerRank. Int n. This n will represent the number of games with the season and the score array. Okay, let me take the score array because the constant given was 10 to the power 8, something like that. Let me take 1000. Now see out. Enter the number of games. Just a minute. Enter the number of games. Cin n. Okay, now let's run the code. My scores for each game: 10, 5, 20, 20. 10, 5, 20, 20. 4, 5, 2, 25, 1. 4, 5, 2, 25, 1. Oh, just a minute. We're getting some. Okay, okay. Break score 0 and break score 1. Okay, so we got the answer. Thank you very much.